Walk into any gun shop in America right now and something feels different. Certain rifles that used to sit on every rack are gone. Pistols that were always available are listed as out of stock online. The guns aren't discontinued, at least not officially, they're just not there anymore. Some are victims of state bans that take effect in July. Others are caught in import restrictions that manufacturers won't talk about publicly. A few are being quietly pulled from catalogs without press releases or explanations. The reasons vary, but the result is the same. If you wait, you'll miss them. The guns disappearing from dealer shelves in 2026 aren't always the ones making headlines. They're the imports that slipped through cracks that are now closing. The surplus rifles whose supply finally ran out. The models that lost money for manufacturers who decided to cut their losses without fanfare. This is the list of 10 guns that are quietly vanishing and why you won't find them a year from now. Number 10. Benelli M4. The Benelli M4 is the only semi-automatic shotgun ever adopted by the U.S. Marine Corps, standard combat shotgun for USMC infantry since 2000, proven in Iraq and Afghanistan, and widely considered the most reliable semi-auto shotgun ever built. It's also nearly impossible to find in dealer inventory in 2026. The M4 uses Benelli's auto-regulating gas-operated ARGO system, dual pistons that cycle everything from light target loads to heavy 3-inch magnums without adjustment. The military M1014 has a collapsible stock. The civilian M4H20 has a fixed stock and 18.5-inch barrel for NFA compliance. Benelli produces the M4 in limited quantities in Italy. Import allocations are small and irregular. When shipments arrive, they're allocated within hours. Retail customers ordering M4s get wait times measured in months, and those estimates are optimistic. Many dealers stop taking orders because they can't predict when inventory will arrive. The scarcity isn't new, but it's worsening. Benelli prioritizes military and law enforcement contracts. The M4 retails for $2,299 to $2,499 when available, limiting buyers to serious tactical shotgun enthusiasts. That price point means Benelli has little incentive to flood the market. Controlled scarcity maintains premium pricing. M4s arriving in 2026 sell before they're unpacked. Used M4s trade at or above new retail because buyers tired of waiting pay premiums for immediate availability. The M4 isn't discontinued, it's functionally unavailable. Number 9. Browning a bolt. Browning discontinued the A-bolt in 2013, replacing it with the X-bolt. That was over a decade ago. So why is it on this list? Because clean, unmodified examples are finally becoming genuinely scarce in dealer inventories. The A-bolt was Browning's flagship hunting rifle from 1985 to 2013. 60-degree bolt throw, detachable box magazine, out-of-the-box accuracy, competitive with custom rifles. The A-bolt II, 1994, added a top tang safety and better trigger. Hunters shot them hard on elk hunts in Colorado, deer hunts in Pennsylvania, antelope hunts in Wyoming. They mounted scopes, rebarreled worn rifles, refinished beat-up stocks. Clean A-bolts with original factory finishes and no aftermarket modifications are rare. Most show decades of use. Throat erosion, stock dings, worn bluing. An A-bolt in excellent condition with original finish, factory barrel still shooting sub-MOA, and unmolested wood commands prices approaching what it cost new 30 years ago. The X-bolt addressed minor complaints with better triggers and improved controls, but it doesn't have the same following among hunters who grew up shooting A-bolts. Collectors competing for clean examples face shrinking supply. When a clean A-bolt hits the used rack, it moves fast. Number 8. CMP M1 Garand Surplus. The civilian marksmanship program has been selling surplus M1 Garand since 1996. In 2026, that supply is running out faster than most shooters realize, and the window to buy an authentic World War II-era rifle at accessible prices is closing. CMP's field-grade and service-grade M1 Garands, authentic World War II-era rifles with original parts, correct markings, and the history that comes with military service, sell out within hours of restocking. These are the rifles shooters want: Springfield Armory and Winchester receivers with cartouche stamps, wartime production dates, and the wear patterns that tell stories. Expert-grade models at $1,799 are the primary tier still available with any consistency, but even those move fast. Rack grade, which sold for $650 in 2020, hasn't been available since late 2024. CMP has responded by repurposing drill receivers, deactivated rifles that were rendered non-functional for ceremonial use, with minimal modifications like tack welds. CMP conducted extensive testing proving these receivers can be safely restored to functional status. They're rebuilding these rifles with new match-grade barrels and Benelli stocks, creating quality shooter rifles from what would otherwise be permanently deactivated inventory. It's an engineering solution to extend supply, but it doesn't create new surplus. It only recovers rifles that were already counted as losses. CMP is also working with the U.S. government to repatriate M1s from Korea and the Philippines. Both countries hold significant stocks loaned under military assistance programs decades ago. Diplomatic complexity and political resistance have stalled those efforts for over a decade, and there's no indication repatriation will happen in 2026. The M1s currently in CMP inventory are what remains after 20 years of continuous sales. When they're gone, the only source of authentic World War II-era M1 Garands will be the used market at prices that reflect genuine scarcity. Collectors who want an authentic World War II-era M1 Garand know the window is closing. CMP's drill receiver restoration program extends the timeline slightly, but it doesn't solve the fundamental problem. The global supply of World War II-era M1 Garands available for civilian sale is finite and shrinking. Number 7. Remington 7600 Pump Rifle. Remington discontinued the Model 7600 pump-action centerfire rifle during the 2020 bankruptcy. Rem Arms has not resumed production. In 2026, the 7600, a rifle that defined the pump-action hunting category for decades, is effectively extinct in new production. The 7600 was Remington's answer to hunters who wanted centerfire power with fast follow-up capability. Introduced in 1981 as the replacement for the Model 760, the 7600 was chambered in serious hunting calibers: .30-06, .308, .270, .243. It gave deer hunters in states that restricted semi-autos a legitimate alternative and provided backup shot capability that bolt actions couldn't match. Pump-action centerfire rifles never developed the collector following that lever actions or bolt actions enjoy. The 7600 was a working-class hunting rifle. Hunters used them hard, maintained them inconsistently, and traded them in when barrels wore out. The 7600's hitting used racks show it: throat erosion, stock cracks, rough actions from decades of cycling. Clean 7600s, original finish, tight action, good bore, are scarce. When one appears, it moves within days. A clean 7600 in .30-06 or .308 trades for $600 to $800, double what these rifles brought 5 years ago. Rem Arms has shown no indication it will resume production. Number 6. Winchester Model 94, pre-2006, production. The Winchester Model 94 is still in production under the Browning/Winchester umbrella, but the rifles being built today are not the Model 94s that defined American lever gun culture for over a century. Pre-2006 Model 94s, manufactured in New Haven, Connecticut before Winchester closed that plant, are becoming hard to find in clean, unmodified condition. These were working guns. They got carried in saddle scabbards, truck racks, and deer camps from Montana to Mississippi. Bluing wore thin from handling and weather exposure. Stocks picked up dings from decades of use. Receivers developed edge rounding. That's honest wear that tells the story of a rifle that worked for a living, but it means clean examples with sharp markings, original wood, and intact factory finishes are increasingly rare. Modification worsened the problem significantly. Thousands of Model 94s were drilled for scope mounts during the 1970s and 1980s when scopes became standard on deer rifles. Thousands more were fitted with aftermarket stocks, synthetic, laminate, or cheaper wood alternatives to the factory walnut. Some had barrels shortened for brush gun configurations. Others were refinished by well-meaning owners in ways that erased both character and collector value. A Model 94 with original blue, factory-fitted wood and no extra holes drilled anywhere is now a collector piece, not a common rifle. Post-2006 Model 94s, built in Japan under license or in Browning's facilities, are fine rifles. They shoot well, they're reliable, and they carry the Winchester name on the receiver, but collectors don't treat them the same way. The value gap is significant and growing. A clean pre-2006 Model 94 in 30/30 trades for $600 to $100, depending on condition and configuration. A post-2006 equivalent brings $450 to $600. Clean New Haven. 94s are being pulled from racks by collectors the moment they appear. Dealers report these rifles don't sit. They move within days of hitting the used gun case. Number 5. FN SCAR 17S Belgian marked receivers. The FN SCAR 17S is not disappearing. It's actively manufactured at FN's Columbia, South Carolina facility, readily available at dealers, and selling steadily at retail prices between $3,800 and $4,300. What is disappearing is a specific collector variant that most shooters will never notice or care about. Early SCAR 17S production used receivers forged and marked in Belgium, then imported to the U.S. for final assembly under 922R compliance. These Belgian-marked receivers carry proof marks and manufacturing stamps from FN's Herstal facility. Current production uses receivers manufactured domestically in South Carolina. The rifles function identically, same accuracy, same reliability, same parts interchangeability. The only difference is markings on metal that most buyers never look at, but collectors care about markings. Belgian-marked SCAR 17S rifles that traded at standard retail $3,800 to $4,300 until around 2023 now bring $4,500 to $5,200 on the used market. Buyers pay a $1,000 premium for Belgian proof marks that have zero functional impact. SCAR buyers who understand the distinction now ask specifically whether the receiver is Belgian marked before purchasing. Dealers who can verify Belgian provenance price accordingly. The SCAR 17S as a firearm platform is not scarce, not being discontinued, and not hard to find. Walk into any FN dealer and you can buy one. What's disappearing is the Belgian-marked variant that represents early production runs before FN shifted receiver manufacturing domestically. For collectors who want that specific provenance, the window has already closed. Those rifles are in private hands, and anyone who wants one pays the collector premium that scarcity commands. Number 4. Marlin 336 pre-Remington production. Marlin's Model 336 lever-action rifle is back in production under Ruger's ownership as of 2023, and the reviews have been largely positive. Ruger has restored quality control, fixed the feeding issues that plagued late Remington-era Marlins, and delivered rifles that shooters trust again. But pre-Remington Marlin 336s, rifles manufactured in North Haven before 2008, are becoming scarce in clean condition. These rifles lived hard lives as deer camp workhorses. Bores show throat erosion, stocks have cracks at the tang, and metal shows freckling. Then thousands were chopped, threaded, and turned into tactical projects that sacrificed collector value. Buyers must distinguish between pre-Remington, Remington-era, and Ruger production rifles. Pre-Remington 336s were built to higher standards than Remington-era guns, 2008 to 2020, which suffered from inconsistent quality during bankruptcy. Ruger's new production is excellent, but not the same as a North Haven rifle from the 1970s. Collectors treat them as three distinct categories. Clean pre-Remington 336s in 30-30 trade for $550 to $800. Remington-era guns bring $350 to $450. Ruger's new production retails for $750 to $850, but doesn't yet command the used market prices original North Haven guns do. Number 3. Remington 870 Wingmaster, original Ilion production. The Remington 870 is the best-selling shotgun in American history, but the Wingmaster, manufactured in Ilion, New York, with machined steel receivers, polished internals, and quality that justified premium prices, is no longer being made. Rem Arms currently produces the 870 at its Huntsville facility, but collectors treat Ilion production Wingmasters as a separate category. Original Wingmasters were machined from solid billet with tolerances that made the action smooth. The finish was deep blue or high-polished nickel. The wood was select-grade walnut. Ilion production 870. Wingmasters in excellent condition trade for $600 to $1,000. That's double or triple what a Rem Arms 870 or Express brings. The market permanently split the 870 into two tiers based on where and when it was built. Verification requires checking serial numbers, barrel markings, proof stamps, and receiver roll marks. Serious buyers check multiple data points before paying Wingmaster prices. Clean Ilion Wingmasters move quickly when they hit used racks. Number 2. Swiss K31. The Swiss K31 is a straight-pull bolt-action rifle chambered in 7.5 by 55 mm Swiss, manufactured from 1933 to 1958 for the Swiss military. It's widely considered one of the most accurate surplus military rifles ever produced, with match-grade tolerances and a smooth action that makes every other surplus bolt action feel crude by comparison. In 2026, clean examples are effectively extinct at affordable prices. The K31 used to be the surplus rifle you bought when you wanted precision without paying custom rifle money. Dealers sold them for $250 to $350 as recently as 2018. They came with excellent bores and Swiss-quality machining. American shooters couldn't believe was available at surplus prices. Import batches arrived regularly from Switzerland through the mid-2010s. That supply ended permanently around 2019 when Switzerland tightened export controls on military surplus firearms. The K31s in American circulation now are what's left after a decade of sales with zero replenishment. Clean examples with matching serials and good bores trade for $600 to $800 in 2026. Exceptional examples with documented provenance or rare variants bring $1,000 to $1,500. The ammunition situation compounds the scarcity. The 7.5 by 55 mm Swiss cartridge isn't produced domestically in large quantities. Surplus GP11 ammunition, the match-grade Swiss military load that made the K31 famous for accuracy, is nearly extinct. When GP11 appears, it's priced at $1.50 to $2 per round. Shooters who want to actually use a K31 pay premium prices for both rifle and ammunition. Dealers report K31 inventory doesn't sit anymore. A clean example priced at $700 sells within 48 hours. The supply is finite, the Swiss export pipeline is closed, and the rifles aren't coming back. Number 1. Century WASR-10. The Century Arms WASR-10 is the most common AK pattern rifle in America. Romanian manufactured, imported by Century, chambered in 7.62 by 39 mm and priced under $900 for decades. It's the AK that millions of American shooters bought as their first example of Kalashnikov design. In 2026, it's quietly vanishing from dealer shelves. The WASR-10 has always been the baseline AK, functional, affordable, and available. Dealers kept them in stock because they moved steadily at $650 to $850. Buyers knew they could walk into any gun shop and find a WASR on the rack. That reliability of supply is over. Century Arms has significantly reduced WASR-10 import allocations due to Romanian production constraints, ATF import approval delays, and shifting priorities at Cougar Arms Factory. Romania is prioritizing military contracts and NATO partners over commercial U.S. imports. The rifles still being produced are increasingly allocated to military and law enforcement. New WASR-10s retailed at $699 to $799 consistently from 2015 to 2023. In 2026, dealers pricing new inventory at $899 to $999 sell them immediately. PSA AK-47s are $850 to $950. Zastava ZPA PM70s are $950 to $1,100. The budget A-K market, the WASR dominated, is being squeezed by supply restrictions that aren't temporary. Century hasn't announced discontinuation. The rifle is still listed on their website, but availability has collapsed to where in stock effectively means discontinued. The most common AK in American history is disappearing quietly while everyone assumes it'll always be around. Conclusion: 10 guns, 10 different reasons they're vanishing from dealer shelves without fanfare. Some are victims of discontinued production lines, others are imports whose supply chains collapsed. A few are clean examples of older rifles whose condition is increasingly rare. One is constrained by foreign manufacturing priorities and import bureaucracy that won't clear. The pattern is the same across all of them. The guns are there until they're not, and by the time buyers realize what's happening, the window has already closed. No press releases, no warning shots, just empty shelves where a rifle used to sit. The guns that disappear quietly aren't always the ones making headlines. They're the imports caught in regulatory delays, the surplus rifles whose source countries closed the export pipeline, the discontinued models whose manufacturers moved on, the affordable rifles whose Romanian factory prioritized military contracts over civilian commerce. If you want any of these 10 guns, 2026 is the year to buy them. After that, you're shopping the used market at prices that reflect scarcity or not buying them at all.